Obama busted for massive fraud after blowing billions on his secret obsession that will make you sick. Oh Lord. Here we go again. Just when we think we've heard the last of Barack Hussein Obama, the parasitic tumor that's been draining the life force out of America for the past 8 years rears its ugly head again. Now we are learning of a brand new scandal that is about to rip open the Democratic Party, after the sickening discovery that Ben Carson just made shortly after being assigned to his new role up at the White House. Dr. Ben Carson is one of the smartest men in America, and President Trump made a very wise move appointing him as our country's new HUD secretary. Carson has only been in his new position just a couple of months, but it didn't take long for him to start getting a whiff of rotten up at the White House, and the trail of stench not surprisingly began to point directly to America's infamous traitor, Barack Hussein Obama. In a breaking audit that was just released by the White House, it looks like the former liar-in-chief robbed Americans blind to the tune of $500 billion in order to fund his signature failure of Obamacare. Fox News reported. HUD management is downplaying the severity of the condition and impact of the errors identified, which were significant enough to cause it to recall its published AFR and reissue its fiscal year 2016 consolidated financial statements and notes. While the errors identified may not have changed HUD's financial position, as HUD states at the bottom of its financial statements, the accompanying notes are an integral part of these statements. These notes contained errors of $516.4 billion. In other words, Barack Hussein Obama. The man who fancied himself as a freaking king for the past 8 years robbed us blind. Fraud its finest. After taking a closer look, the audit revealed even more startling discrepancies. The Daily Caller has more. The total amounts of errors corrected in HUD's notes and consolidated financial statements were $516.4 billion and $3.4 billion, respectively. There were several other unresolved audit matters, which restricted our ability to obtain sufficient, appropriate evidence to express an opinion. These unresolved audit matters relate to 1. The Office of General Counsel's refusal to sign the management representation letter. 2. HUD's improper use of cumulative and first-in, first-out budgetary accounting methods of dispersing community planning and development program funds. 3. The $4.2 billion in non-pooled loan assets from Ginnie Mae's stand-alone financial statements that we could not audit due to inadequate support. 4. The improper accounting for certain HUD assets and liabilities, and 5. Material differences between HUD subledger and general ledger accounts. This audit report contains 11 material weaknesses, 7 significant deficiencies, and 5 instances of non-compliance with applicable laws and regulations. Unfreaking believable. Amazing how Trump has only been in office since January, and so much corruption has surfaced already. We knew Barack Hussein Obama was a crooked traitor, but just how much more corruption is out there, just waiting to be discovered? Ben Carson has never been a fan of Obama, so it should be interesting to see if he makes any public statement about what he's found. Carson was prodded by the Obama administration back in 2013 to apologize to the liar-in-chief after blasting His Royal Highness during his National Prayer Breakfast speech. The Washington Times reported. I got a call from one of the organizers. They said, "The White House is very upset and you need to call the president and you need to apologize," Dr. Carson said on Fox News Channel's Fox and Friends. Dr. Carson, who received the call 15 minutes after giving the National Prayer Breakfast keynote speech last year with Mr. Obama sitting 2 seats away on the dais, said he refused to say he was sorry. I said I had talked to the president afterwards. He didn't seem upset and there's no reason he should be unless what I said applied to him, he said. It was the first time Dr. Carson personally recounted the story, which he detailed in his newly released book One Nation, What We Can All Do to Save America's Future. In the prayer breakfast speech, which catapulted Dr. Carson to the forefront of conservative politics and sparked rumors that he was eyeing a run for the White House, he lambasted the direction America is heading and warned about the perils of the moral decay and fiscal irresponsibility that face the nation. If you're pissing people off, more than likely you're doing something right. Mad kudos to Dr. Ben Carson for doing such an amazing job as the HUD Secretary. It will be interesting to see what else he finds after auditing the massive mess that Obama and his minions left behind. Dear little Kim, look what Trump just sent to your backyard. The US military not going to put up with, or back down from, North Korea's pathetic saber rattling. The stakes got raised. And it's so close, even his projectile dysfunctions could almost reach it. A nuclear-powered U.S. submarine arrived in a South Korean port on Tuesday in a show of force amid concerns that North Korea may attempt another missile launch or nuclear test on Tuesday. The port call in Pusan by the USS Michigan came as an American aircraft carrier strike group continued steaming towards Korean waters. And as tensions in the area continued to rise, the top nuclear envoys from South Korea, Japan, and the US met in Tokyo to discuss North Korea's refusal to give up its nuclear program. It's close enough to give the bratty despot a spanking should he need it. Have a look. So, are you tracking with us, Kim? Or do you need to phone a friend? Breaking, Stephen Colbert just got devastating news. Fire him now. Stephen Colbert has come under fire on social media for a crude joke he made about President Donald Trump on Monday's broadcast of The Late Show that some critics claimed was bigoted and homophobic. While attempting to defend his CBS colleague John Dickerson, Colbert said Trump's mouth is only good for his being Vladimir Putin's CCK holster. Outraged by the remark, social media users quickly made the hashtag #FireColbert a top trending topic on Twitter Tuesday. Colbert's homophobic rant was disgusting and we won't tolerate this anti-LGBTQ behavior, one user wrote. Liberals ruin the careers of conservatives all the time, so the #FireColbert campaign is just giving libs a taste of their own medicine, argued another. Some called Colbert a homophobe and a bigot. German Lopez, a reporter for left-wing news outlet Vox, wrote that Colbert's joke pointedly mocked gay people. In a setting in which Colbert is deliberately trying to find a way to insult Trump, it's telling that he resorts to suggesting that Trump is engaging in sexual acts with another man. The suggestion is that the worst thing that could happen for these men is if they engaged in homosexual acts together, as if that devalues them as men or emasculates them. Colbert's over-the-top late-night monologue also included fat jokes about President Trump. Mr. President, I love your presidency. I call it disgrace the nation, he began. You're not the POTUS, you're the bloatos. You're the glutton with the button. You're a regular George Washington. You're the pressy dunce but you're turning into a real pricktator. Sir, you attract more skinheads than free Rogaine, Colbert continued. You have more people marching against you than cancer. You talk like a sign language gorilla that got hit in the head. Petition, fire Colbert for his disgusting remarks about President Trump. Share this story if you think Stephen Colbert should be fired. Be fired. Look. Trump gets a special gift from his son, it's not what you think. A Scottish artist was commissioned to paint a portrait of Donald Trump as president before he even won the election. Craig Campbell was approached by the Commander-in-Chief's son, Eric, last year and asked to make a presidential portrait for an undisclosed fee. Campbell, who is considered one of Scotland's leading portraiture and figurative artists, said yes despite Trump being locked in a close battle for the presidency with Hillary Clinton at the time. The 56-year-old artist, from Ayr, has carried out a number of portraits of famous golfers, such as Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods, and his work is featured throughout Trump's Turnberry Golf Course, South Ayrshire. Prints of his works are featured in every bedroom of the Turnberry Resort, and Trump also already owns one of Campbell's golf paintings. The new oil painting of Trump shows the now president looking into the distance as he stands between two American flags and next to the official presidential seal. Campbell said he had to scour the web to find the right image to base his painting on. He said, Eric approached me not long after his dad was confirmed as the Republican candidate to see if I would be interested in doing a presidential portrait. This was ages before the day of voting, but Eric thought it would be a nice surprise for if he won. Like everyone else, I was shocked when he won it in the end, but I've met him, and his whole family, And they've been very nice people. Eric was really impressed with it when he was visiting Turnberry the other month. He thought it looked very lifelike. Hopefully he'll hang it up in the Oval Office when he takes it with him. There's not many people who can say they've done an official portrait of the American president. I had to scour the web to get a picture where he wasn't pulling a face and looked presidential. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. Trump, whose approval rating after 100 days in the job stands at only 42%, is likely to collect the painting during a scheduled state visit to the UK later this year. His plan to visit the UK was postponed amid mass nationwide protests against him earlier this year. Campbell is scheduled to have an exhibition of his work in July at the Turnberry Resort. One day after making awful joke about the president, Stephen Colbert comes forward with shocking announcement. Stephen Colbert responded Wednesday to the online backlash and #Fire Colbert internet campaign that cropped up after he made insult-laden jokes about President Trump. Colbert will open his show Wednesday night by saying, "Welcome to the Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. Still? I am still the host? I'm still the host." According to an advance transcript provided to USA Today. Colbert slammed the president for abruptly walking out of CBS's Face the Nation host John Dickerson's interview, after the reporter pressed Trump about his claims that President Obama wiretapped him. Both Colbert and Dickerson are CBS employees, as well as friends. Now, if you saw my monologue Monday, you know that I was a little upset at Donald Trump for insulting a friend of mine, Colbert will say Wednesday. So at the end of that monologue, I had a few choice insults for the president in return. I don't regret that. He, I believe, can take care of himself. I have jokes, he has the launch codes. So,